so this is the Gmail tips and tricks training. So first of all, just a few of the key sections we're going to go through. So we've got the left panel menu, contact settings, searching, sending emails, and the keyboard shortcuts. So we'll just run through those now. So left panel menu, I go on to my test user. So let me just refresh the screen. So within your Gmail, you can see, I think I've moved that down a little bit, but it's actually quite squished. I can't really see everything on here. I've got my Meet down here. Some of you will also have your Google Chat. So to turn that off, what you can do is if you click on the settings, the cog up here, settings pretty much for everything. You can click on there, go to see all settings. And then if you go to Chat and Meet up here, you can turn both of those. I've already got the Hangouts off, but you can hide the Meet. And then that will then just remove that section there for you. And you'll get more information. Oh, bear with me. You'll get more information and you can just kind of get a bigger screen. So it's a little bit easier to view. You can also click on the 3 lines here to turn that off and on. And again, depending on what you're looking at, it just means you've got the bigger screen. So if you're looking at it on quite a small screen, like a laptop or a tablet, then it just gives you a bigger view. There's also something here. You've got, these ones are marked important. And you've got this one here for starred. Now, starred is kind of a bit of a theme within Google, where it has, it's a bit like favorites, so the old version of favorites that you've got. So you can click on there, and then when I've clicked on this one here, if I click on starred here, you can then view that there's the starred one. So you could view the starred on something, this is a list of emails that I want to go and look at tomorrow. So you can obviously keep them in your inbox, but if you have a list, these are the key ones that I want to look at on another day, you can just click on there, and then anything that you've starred will be in here. Or it could be, I think I've got some where there's some relevant passwords or some key emails that I want to kind of keep a record of. So again, you can star those and they'll sit on there. And again, obviously, if it's not a star anymore, it's not important anymore, untick it and it just goes into your general inbox. You have these things down here, categories. In Google, they call them labels. Now, the good thing about a label is that you can have an email with more than one label on it. So if you've got something that it is an invoice, for example, but it's also related to some IT equipment, you can give it a ticket or a label of IT and invoice, and then it will sit in both of those. So where sometimes it's quite difficult to try and find what you're looking for, that will just enable you to use those. So you can, let's, for example, we'll just choose this one here. When you go into the email, you have labels here. So it automatically gives you a few on there, but if you want to create your own, create a new one, you can just call this one, for example, Classroom to Action, and I can create, and then you can see on here, I now have a new label called Classroom to Action. Now, what you can also do, you can, if you want to nestle, they call that nestle underneath. So if I click on Create New, I've got, I don't actually want it in Classroom to Action. I want it to be Classroom Complete, but I want it to be nestled underneath Classroom to Action. So literally like where you would have a folder within a folder, like on Windows Explorer, for example. Now, if I then create that one there, you'll then see that I've got my Classroom Complete there, and there's the email that I've just added in there. Now, within the labels, you can see on here that I still have inbox and I have Classroom to Action. So if you want to, you can literally go back into the email and unclick on that one, or click or add or whatever. You can just click them on there, and then it will then just sit within that folder, and it won't be within my inbox anymore. So it's actually moved that across. Within the these categories here, there are, if I click on more, there are a list more down here. And obviously, as you get more and more labels that you use, that list will get bigger and bigger. What you can do, if, for example, drafts is one of the ones I want, you can actually pick them and drag them and move them up or down as you need to. So if I just move those smaller, just so that you can see, if I click up my drafts, I can move them up there, and now my drafts are at the top. Now, also within these labels, there might be some where you want to show them and sometimes you want to hide them. And to do that, you can either do them at this level here. So I can say, so for example, perhaps this is classroom to action. It's actually 2019, 2020. I don't need those anymore. I don't want to delete them, but I just don't want to see them anymore. So you can actually just hide them and then they will then be disappeared. Then if you want to go and add those back, or you want to go and find something in there or specifically view those, if you go into labels over here, and you can go down, find the one that you created down here, and I now want to show it, and now that will then appear down here. So it's a good idea to have, you can have classroom to action, it could be 1920, or invoices, for example, invoices paid, invoices to pay, and you can have a 1920 and a 2021, and then just hide not the top level. I've got them here, I think. So you could have that this is actually called, if I change that here to not remove, I want to rename. If I edit that there and invoices paid 1920 and save that one, and it could be, for example, that now, I just want to hide that one. So my 1920 will be hidden, but my 2020, if I've created one, would still be shown. Okay, so that's how you can kind of amend them. There are, as you can see in here, a list of other choices that standard ones that Gmail creates, things like chats and important and snooze. Again, you can show or hide those as you want, just within that labels there. Okay, within the labels, you can see on here that I have some that are red and some that are black. And if you just want to change the color, you can change them just up here to whatever color that you want. And it can be at the top level or on both levels. So there might be sometimes where you want, for example, if it's invoices to be paid and invoices paid, you might want the invoices to be paid to be red and everything else to be black or another color so that they stand out for you. Okay, moving on to contacts. I know that we've had a couple of questions about the contacts, about how to actually add contacts or how to stop it from being automatically added. So if you click on settings, sorry, I should have just gone back to here so that you can see it on the pack. So into contacts, you'll be able to follow this on the training then. If you go into all settings and just scroll down, I'm not going to go too fast so that you can actually see it when you look at it on the recording. You've got this section here, create contacts for autocomplete. So either when I send a message, it will add them automatically, or I'll add the contacts myself. So if you have it that they'll add them automatically, obviously anybody you receive an email from, it will automatically put those into your contact list. So if you're, for example, a business manager and you're getting emails from all different people regarding invoicing, you might not want to add each of those into your contact list. You might want to just add the ones that you're going to use. So you would then just change those. Anything you change in here, you do need to go to the bottom. It's not automatically saved rather. You will need to do that yourself. Okay, so that's just a little bit on contacts. Okay, now we're going to move on to settings. You might have seen some of that information already on that screen. So we'll go back and show you where those are. So within the settings, if we go into see all settings, there are a number of tips and tricks that we've got available. So you have grammar, where it will automatically obviously suggest things for you. You have your spelling and your autocorrect and your smart compose. The smart compose will just personalize as you start to use Gmail. It will then automatically change those for you. Now with the writing suggestions on, I already had those on, so I'm just going to add some text in here. So you can see details below. It's already created that for you. Do not. Oops. There you go. So it will give you some suggestions if you have these writing suggestions on. You can turn them off if you don't like it. Obviously, if I just carry on, if I just carry on typing here, it will keep suggesting, but it won't automatically add them. You either need to press the tab key. Either press the tab key on your keyboard, or you can just click across and that will bring that across for you. Generally the tab key. Okay, so that's there. These again, some people like them, some people don't, but they're available for you should you want them. Okay, the next thing I'm going to go over is filters. Now, filters is something that for some people will be extremely useful, and for others might be something that you don't use that often. Okay, so if, for example, you get some invoices, I've got an invoice here from Mrs. Khan. It's one of my template ones, my test ones. I want anything from Mrs. Khan, their only ever invoices, I want them to automatically go into a folder so that I can review them when I want to. So it might be once a week I go and do my invoicing. So I'll then go and look at my label or my folder that's got all of the invoices in there, and then I'll pay those all in one go. So I'm not doing it as and when. So if you click on here and you click on the 3 spots there and filter messages like this. So I'm going to say anything that comes from Mrs. Khan, I want you to create a filter, and I want it to automatically go into my invoices folder. I can also, it's already telling me that there are 10 other messages that are also from Mrs. Khan. So I can say, I want you to do the same. I want you to also move those across. Now, at the moment, these are automatically also going into your inbox. Now, I don't want them to go into my inbox because then they're still in my sort of to-do list on my main screen. I want them to skip the inbox and only go into that label. And then later in the week, I'll go and look at my invoicing and all of those will be there. So if I now create a filter and go into my inbox, oops, that one for Mrs. Khan is now disappeared. And if I just go into that email address and just put in a test one in there, oops, and send that one, you should then be able to see in a moment that will come through, and then it will automatically, obviously you won't see it in your inbox here, it will straight away go into here and it will come into this box fairly shortly. Just give that a quick, there we go. So you've got that invoices sitting up there ready to be paid. And then what I can do, right, yeah, I've dealt with that one. I actually now want to move it, and I'm going to move it into the invoices paid. Obviously, it's got 1920 on it, but that one, I've paid that one. I'm happy for it to move, and now I can manually move that one across. And it's not in my invoices anymore. It's now in my 1920 at that one at the top. So you can use the folders if you're doing things on certain days. So, you know, one day you're doing invoicing, you can have them automatically moving into there, and then that will push them through for you. Now, on the filters, if you want to kind of look at those a little bit more, so if you click up here, go into see your settings, and then you have your filters and blocked addresses here. You can see I've got that one from Mrs. Khan. I want it to skip the inbox and just apply the invoice label, invoices. Now, if that's wrong, or you want to make some changes, or you don't want it to go into the 1921 anymore, you want it to go into the 2021, just click on the edit, click on continue, and then you can just change the invoice or the folder that you want it to go into. So you can go and update those. They're not static. You can go and change them as you need to. And back here. You've also got signatures. So I'll show you how to add a signature. I know one query I did get from somebody the other day is how to put pictures. How do you get the TKAT logo into your message? So you've probably got it on plain text. If you make sure it's on rich formatting, and then you can put, oh, who is this? This is Mr. Jensen. Let's just call him at Primary Academy. You can put obviously whatever information in there you want, and click on Save Changes. So now when I go into here and click on signatures, like that's saved. Let's just turn that off. Which one am I in the right account? I think I'm in the wrong account. So that will then go and show in your message. I think I'm switching between the different accounts at the same time. Now there is another part up here. You can see on here that I have got a number of emails, you can see on here, and this is particularly useful for when you've got the you've got emails going into some of these filters. You can see on there that I automatically have 3 emails that I haven't read yet, 5 in my draft, but I don't have any in my inbox. So to get this icon here, again, you may or may not want this choice, but if you click on the cog, see your settings, then click on advanced over here. And if you just scroll down, you've got this unread message icon, and you can enable or disable. So I'm going to enable on that on there. And then as the emails then come through, they're going to sit with the numbers on here. Obviously, I haven't got any new ones at the moment, but they will sit within there. Okay, so back onto here. As I said before, if you have any questions that I'm not answering, or you want something else, just drop those into the chat and we will pick those up at the end. Okay, now we're going to move on to searching. So within Google, there are we have something called All Mail and something called Archive. Now, I know that it's always been a thing within O365 in particular Outlook, that it's always been a case of try and keep your list of emails quite small, delete them all the time. Obviously, within Google, if they're in your deleted or in your bin for 30 days, then they disappear completely. You can't go back to them like you could in Outlook. What you can do, though, instead is use something called Archive. So within the archive, when you put anything in archive, it's basically your all mail, and you have that. I've got my option here. For most people, it will probably be much further down the bottom. But as I said before, you can just literally pick up these and drag them up. So I have them in my all mail. Now you can search if you're searching and you want to search in all mail. You can do it, click on all mail and go in there. However, you can do, let's say, for example, I want to search for my invoices and I want to click in here. And you can search in either just your inbox, you can search in your all mail. At the bottom here, you've also got your mail, your spam, and your bin. So you can move and choose each of those. All mail obviously will be everything. So if I searched on my invoices in there, you'll then get everything that's mentioned invoice within all of the different labels that you've got. Obviously, if I'm searching for something in inbox, if I've moved it to my invoices folder, it's not in this label anymore. It's now in this label. So if I searched on inbox and looked for invoice, obviously you can see on there, it's going to come up now. It hasn't actually got anything in my inbox because none of it is there. It's all sitting in my all mail. Now, you might find when I just did that search there, it's come up with some, but I can guarantee it won't find everything. You need to switch it to all mail or move it down to your mail, spam, or bin. Okay, so you do need to make that change. Now, if you do, let's just move that back to my inbox. So within your archive, the number of emails you have in your archive, so you still might be feeling a little bit nervous about keeping everything in your archive and actually still wanting to delete the emails, that's absolutely fine. If you've got some that you really don't need anymore, that's fine to bin them or to stick them in the bin by deleting. However, within Google, the amount of emails that you have as one user is minuscule compared to everybody that's using Google. So kind of the idea is don't worry about it. Obviously, if it's something that's really you're not going to use, or it might be, I don't know, some spam or something, by all means delete those, but otherwise you can just put them in your archive. That's really not a problem. Within your searches up here, you can also, if you click on in and then colon, you can also do a quick search for in unread or in sent, or depending if I'm in my inbox or in one of the folders at the time, in your inbox. So that's another really quick way of doing a search specifically in one label if that's something that you want to do. Okay, now we're going to move on to sending emails. Okay, so if I just do a new email. Now you will find on here, you may have already sort of noticed some of these things already, and some of these might be new things for you. So within your email, this is quite small. If you've got lots of text in there or you've got some pictures, you might want to expand that, which you can do there. If you're working on 2 different things at the same time, you can minimize that, go and find the other email and then just click on that one again and click on the 2 arrows together to make it smaller, so then you can look at the 2 screens at the same time. You've also got, if you want to send an email with a template. Now, this is quite a key thing that a few people have said that they've really wanted. So it could be, I think I've got some templates that I've already created in here. So I've got an invoice text that I've already created. This is my template. Please use this for emails relating to invoices. Now, if I want to make some changes to this, or let's say, for example, this is a new email or a new template I want to create. So this is the, oops. And obviously you can create whatever it is that you want. If you then click on the 3 spots down there, click on templates, and then you can just save the draft as a template. You can overwrite one of them. So if I wanted to change my invoice text, and this is my new invoice text, you can just click on that one, it overwrites, or save as a new template. And then you can put in your new template name. And if I just close that one so that you can see as I follow that through. So on my new email, I can click on that one, click on the template, and then choose my new text, and there's my standard text. Obviously, depending on what you're doing, you might have emails that you're sending to parents, and just having, particularly for things, I don't know, like free school meals, for example, you've got your standard text, and you just want to use the same template each time, sending it to different people, then you've got that text in there that you can use, and you can create as many templates as you may need to. Within, if I just open up one of these ones, within your emails, when you're forwarding, we have had a query. I'm just going to open this one. If I pop it out, then I can just get that bigger screen, where they are forwarding on emails. In fact, let me just, sorry, I'm just going to pick up one of the other ones that's got a little bit more information on it. So sometimes you've got various different emails and you don't want to forward all the information. So obviously on this one, it's already come up. So I'm just going to go, do you know what? I don't actually want to send that section of the email. And you can just then forward that part on. It might be, for example, you want to edit the subject. So it might be something that somebody's forwarded it to you and you want to forward that on, but you want to change the detail. If you click on the arrow up here and click on edit subject, you can then say, yeah, it's not, I don't want it to be forwarded, and it's a query, for example, or whatever it might be. So you can adjust that subject in there. Just going to delete that one for now. Somebody did mention about whether or not you can send an urgent email. Unfortunately, Google doesn't offer that. Everything is urgent and everything is sent straight away. So the only thing really we can suggest is that if you just type urgent at the beginning of your email and then that of your subject, and then that would be a way of just highlighting that that's what they need to look at. There is something, I'll just, if I send this to an option on here, that an undo. So if you started to send something and think, oh, I've missed something or I've sent it to the wrong person, if you click on that undo, I can then say, oh, actually, that wasn't for Mrs. Khan. That's actually for Mr. Dobson. Or I wanted to add some additional information. Then you can click on send and it will go through. And you can keep clicking on undo and keep adding more information as many times as you like. Now, to set that, you need to go into your settings up here. Click on all settings. And you've got this section here, send cancellation period of 30 seconds. Now, there are various other shorter times. To be honest, I wouldn't suggest you use them. Then I can't see how 5 seconds would be enough time for you to make that decision you want to cancel it. It's always best, just keep it to 30 seconds. If I just save that, I haven't made any changes, so I can cancel. If I now send something to Mr. Dobson, oops. And we'll just call it test for now. I can carry on creating another email, even though that one was sitting as a sending and then gave me the option to undo. I can carry on. So if you, obviously if you don't want to use it, you don't have to turn it on. But I don't necessarily have to do anything with it. It will just carry on sending and then show me that it's there for me to undo. So if I just send that one again, so you can see, and it will just show that it's there for me to change or undo if I want to. But if you don't want to change it or you don't want to undo it, just ignore it and carry on. That's now sent and you can now carry on Okay, so it doesn't actually kind of do anything. It's not stopping you from working. So by having that 30 seconds just gives you that little bit of extra time. There is one other option in there that I was going to show you, which is also scheduling. If you are within my email, when you click on send, you've got also schedule send. Let's just put my name in there first. And you can actually select the time and date when you want to send that email. Now, where that might be quite useful, if you've got somebody, I don't know, you're assigning a task to somebody to do, or you're giving them something to do, and you don't want them to work on it until, I don't know, tomorrow morning or next Wednesday, but you don't want them to start thinking about it now. You just want them to actually start actioning it on the day you've given it. So you can then say, yeah, what I'd like you to do is actually send that at, I don't know, 9 a.m. on Wednesday, schedule send, and you'll see then it then says that it is scheduled to send at that time. Okay, so you can schedule things should you want to. Now, there are also just one final thing that I wanted to show you. I'm very much a keyboard person, but I know that not everybody is. So on the training information that we will send you through, and I will include this in the email that I send you with the recording, there are a number of keyboard shortcuts that you can use to save you moving your hand away from the keyboard onto the mouse. So for things like, if I just scroll down, try not to go too fast so that you can actually kind of see, but I know you're not going to be able to see it too well. So there is this one here. These ones are, sorry, for event. Let's just go back up to the top again. Can't find the one that I wanted to show you. This one here. So you've got, if you want to just put something straight to archive, so you read it, there's nothing for you to do with it, you can just go back into your emails. You do need to, oh, wrong account. Let's just go back to this one. You do need to turn these on. So I'll just show you where to do that. You've got it. This section here, keyboard shortcuts, I've got them turned on. So if I look at this email, this one I've done, if I literally just press E on my keyboard now, you can see down there that that conversation has now been archived.